I had deleted my posts of January 9 and 16 about high-powered or celebrity child killers and or murderers. I'm exposing those included in those lists and adding some more to the list in this video. They include Senator Ashley Moody, Susan S. Lopez, the state attorney for the 13th Judicial Circuit in Florida, Gisele Bündchen, fashion model and former wife of Tom Brady, David Lynch, Bob Uecker, Greg Gumbel, Richard Parsons, and others. Hello, friends. This is Unmasked Truth with Harmanjit Saini, where I provide unique analysis of world events based on the unmasked truth that after surrender, Germany continued World War II clandestinely and became a killing machine. I also provide true news that you will find nowhere else. Donald Trump is now the 47th President of the United States. Since his inauguration on January 2025, he has already taken some actions on his priority issues such as immigration, DEI programs, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and possible investments in AI infrastructure. Most of his nominees for cabinet level positions are working through the confirmation process. In my earlier posts, I had indicated the possibility of lawsuits being filed against me. It seems that the federal government may not be doing so. Those who would likely have a bearing on the decision to prosecute me, like the nominees for U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and for Director of FBI Kash Patel, are still going through the confirmation process. The other alternative would be for the state of Florida to file various kinds of lawsuits against me. I don't know whether such a decision has been taken yet or not. It's also quite possible no lawsuits may be filed against me, as I've already showed how all the lawsuits against me would have no legal basis. Then, in my deleted videos, I had revealed that recently, perhaps in late December 2024 or early January 2025, German masqueraders who people of German ancestry living in the United States and other white countries decided to make good on their threats against those who communicate information to me, and attempts were made on the lives of national and local TV anchors on ABC and NBC news networks in the United States, most likely by poisoning their food. One innovative way used was to serve poisoned food brought in by chefs who came in during the morning or weekend morning shows to demonstrate their creations for free publicity. In other cases, they were served poisoned food in restaurants. But God Almighty heard my prayers, and the men and women did not die. God preserved their lives. The names of the men and women so protected include David Muir, ABC World News Tonight anchor, George Stephanopoulos, Good Morning America co-anchor and host of This Week, Robin Roberts and Michael Strahan, both GMA co-anchors, Ginger Z, the chief meteorologist for ABC News, Whit Johnson, Janae Norman, and Gio Benitez, co-anchors of Weekend GMA, Jonathan Carl, the chief Washington correspondent for ABC News and co-anchor of This Week with George Stephanopoulos, Martha Raddatz, chief global affairs correspondent and co-anchor of This Week, Mary Bruce, chief White House correspondent, Pierre Thomas, senior justice correspondent at ABC News, Rachel Scott, recently promoted to senior political correspondent, Mary Alice Parks, White House correspondent, Lindsay Davis, who currently anchors the Sunday edition of World News Tonight, Rebecca Jarvis, the chief business, economics, and technology correspondent, and Will Gantz, multi-platform reporter. I am sure there are many more at ABC News. The list at NBC News includes Savannah Guthrie, co-anchor of NBC's Today Show with Hoda Kotb, former co-anchor on Today, Jose Diaz-Balart, NBC Nightly News Saturday anchor, Kate Snow, serving as senior national correspondent to various NBC programs including Today, NBC Nightly News, Dateline NBC, and MSNBC, Carson Daly, multiple roles at NBC's morning show Today, Hallie Jackson, the senior Washington correspondent for NBC News and the anchor of the Sunday edition of NBC Nightly News, Tom Yamas, a senior national correspondent and anchor for NBC News Now and substitute anchor for Today and NBC Nightly News. I am sure there are many more at NBC News who were the intended victims. Then in the ABC Tampa affiliate WFTS, the list includes James Tully, D.R. Riley, past and present co-anchors on ABC Morning News, Dennis Phillips and Greg D., meteorologists at WFTS. There must have been some at Tampa NBC affiliate WFLA as well. The list also included Tom Brady, the former NFL quarterback and currently Fox Sports play-by-play broadcaster for the NFL. Because the process of verifying information for me is cumbersome, I have not been able to identify all those on whose lives attempts were made. There are certainly dozens more, which likely included staff at the studios who may have eaten some of the food brought in. In addition to journalists who communicate information to me, attempts have also been made on my brother's family and all those who provide services to me, including my barber, dentist, and his staff. Our side has already put to death all those who made attempts on the lives of national and local journalists, my brother's family members, and those who provide services to me. People in restaurants and other places also made attempts on my life by serving poison in my food and in other ways. Our side has recently put more than 20 people to death who made attempts on my life. There has also been a change in the modus operandi of the German masquerader national leaders. Previously, to execute prominent people for disobeying orders, permission had to be granted by the top leader, usually Charlie Munger or Warren Buffett. That seems to have changed since the attempts on the life of Donald Trump in July and September 2024. It seems the decision making has been decentralized. Multiple child killer and or murderer multimillionaires have now been authorized to make their own decisions and order other child killers and or murderers. It makes the task of monitoring the decision makers more difficult for us because there are many more people to monitor. That's why we were not able to detect in time when the attempts on the lives of journalists and other people who helped me would be made. Previously, we would have known of the attempts and either persuaded the would-be murderers with threats from carrying out their assassination attempts or put them and the decision makers to death preemptively as they've already committed murders previously. In the present situation, two multi-millionaires who carried out the task to make attempts on the lives of journalists and my family members are identified in this video as David Keith Lynch and Bob Uecker. Now the latest inductees into the Child Killer and or Murderer Hall of Shame, because those who murdered a child likely also murdered the child's single parent. First, Ashley Brooke Moody, 49 years old, is an American politician, attorney, and former jurist who was recently appointed as the junior United States Senator from Florida by Governor Ron DeSantis to replace Marco Rubio, who is now the U.S. Secretary of State. She previously served as the 38th Attorney General of Florida from 2019 to 2025, and before that as an Assistant U.S. Attorney and a Circuit Court Judge in Hillsborough County. Moody is also a child killer. David Keith Lynch was an American filmmaker, visual artist, musician, and actor, best known for his film Mulholland Drive and the series Twin Peaks. He was given the task of arranging the murder of journalists and others and was put to death for that crime on January 15, 2025 at the age of 78. This child killer's net worth was an estimated $50 to $70 million. Bob Uecker, with full name Robert George Uecker, the American professional basketball catcher and sportscaster who served as the play-by-play announcer for the Milwaukee Brewers of Major League Baseball for 54 seasons. He was the second man ordered to arrange the murder of journalists, my family members, and others, and was put to death for that crime on January 16, 2025, at age 90. He was worth an estimated $10 million. And then Susan S. Lopez, 45, state attorney for the 13th Judicial Circuit in Florida, will likely be the one to carry out the task of prosecuting me if ordered by masqueraders to do so. She is also a child killer and a murderer. Cecil Richards was an American activist who served as the president of both the Planned Parenthood Federation of America and its affiliated Planned Parenthood Action Fund from 2006 to 2018. She was the daughter of Ann Richards, the governor of Texas from 1991 to 1995. She was a child killer and was put to death for that crime on January 20, 2025 at age 67, though the media reported her cause of death as glioblastoma, an aggressive form of brain cancer. She had an estimated net worth of $5 million. Then in my video of December 9, 2024, I had identified Lester Don Holt Jr., 65 years old, the American news permanent anchor for the weekday edition of NBC Nightly News, and Craig Delano Melvin, 45, the new co-anchor on NBC's show Today with Savannah Guthrie, as child killers. The only information about them I would like to add is that they are married to white women by forcing them with threats to do so against their free will. This was an additional reward they sought for being child killers and murderers. Gisele Caroline Bündchen, 44, is a Brazilian fashion model of German origin. Since 2001, she has been one of the highest paid models in the world. She is married to Tom Brady, probably the greatest quarterback in the American National Football League, and currently commentator for the Fox Sports Network. She is also a child killer and has an estimated net worth of $400 million. Bündchen is a perfect example that illustrates why God's judgment in Ezekiel 9 verses 4 to 7 and 11 applies to German masqueraders living in countries other than Germany. They should be exterminated, man, woman, unmarried young woman, and child. Bündchen was already a child killer, which helped her modeling career before she married Tom Brady, though Brady did not know it. However, after she married Tom Brady and had children together, she also made an attempt on Tom Brady's life. But God Almighty intervened to preserve his life so that he did not die. It illustrates that one cannot trust a German origin spouse, because if Satan guides them to murder their spouse, or German masquerader leaders order them to murder their spouses, as they did in 2000 to 2001, they will carry out the instructions. That's why, according to God's judgment, they should be exterminated, man, woman, young unmarried woman, and child in countries other than Germany. You cannot trust them to live among you. They will be a never-ending source of pain, suffering, and anguish for you. Then Annie Gonzalez, 32, is an American Latina actress and producer, best known for the films Flamin' Hot, Gentified, Vida, and Shameless, and her latest biopic, Jenny, on the Mexican-American singer-songwriter and women's rights activist Jenny Rivera, released in 2024. Unfortunately, Gonzalez is also a child killer and a murderer. And Becky Worley, 53, is an American journalist and broadcaster, best known as the tech contributor and consumer reporter for Good Morning America on the ABC network and for ABC Evening News. She is also the host and blogger for a web show on Yahoo Tech. This is one of those cases that made me sad to learn that Worley is a child killer and a murderer. Then Kwame Onwuachi, 35, is a Nigerian-American chef based in New York City, New York. He is the author of 2 books and is a restaurateur, owner of Tatiana in New York City's Lincoln Center, and Doggone DC in Washington, D.C. He's a James Beard Award winning chef and guest judge on Top Chef. He placed fifth as a contestant on Top Chef in season 13 in 2015. He was recognized by Food and Wine magazine, Esquire magazine, and the James Beard Foundation as Rising Star Chef of the Year in 2019. Unfortunately, he is also a child killer and a murderer and has an estimated net worth of $2 million. Then Gregory Gerard Gumbel, popularly known as Greg Gumbel, was an American television sportscaster best known for his work with CBS on calling play-by-play for the National Football League and NCAA basketball. He was also the first African American announcer to call play-by-play for a major sports championship game in the United States, the 2001 Super Bowl 35. This child killer had an estimated net worth of $16 million. He was put to death on December 27, 2024 at age 78, though in the media cancer was reported as the cause of death. Then Jeffrey Baena was an American screenwriter and film director, best known for writing and directing the films Life After Beth, The Little Hours, Horse Girl, and Spin Me Around, among others. He also co-wrote I Heart Huckabees. He frequently collaborated with actresses Alison Brie, Molly Shannon, and Aubrey Plaza, to whom he was married. He masqueraded as a Jew. Baena was a child killer and was put to death on January 3, 2025, when he was found hanging in his home in Los Angeles, California. He was 47 and had an estimated net worth of $4 million. Richard Dean Parsons was an American business executive best known for being the chairman of Citigroup and the chairman and CEO of Time Warner. He had also been the interim CEO of Los Angeles Clippers basketball team of the National Basketball Association and the interim chairman of the board of CBS. Parsons was a child killer and was put to death on December 26, 2024 at age 76, though bone cancer was reported as the cause of death in the media. He had an estimated net worth of $50 million. Olivia Hussey was an American actress born in Buenos Aires of an Argentinian father and a British mother, spending most of her early life in England. She is best known for her role as Juliet in Romeo and Juliet and roles in Black Christmas, Jesus of Nazareth, Death in the Nile, and Psycho 4, among others. She was also a voice actress to Star Wars video games, including Star Wars Rogue Squadron, Star Wars Force Commander, Star Wars The Old Republic. Her accolades included a Golden Globe Award and a David D. Donatello Award. Hussey was also a child killer and murderer and was put to death on 27 December 2024 at the age of 73, though breast cancer was reported as the cause of death. She had an estimated net worth of $4 million. Dale Pauline Haddon was an American dancer turned model and actress, best known as the promoter of anti-aging products manufactured by L'Oreal. And she was a model for brands such as Max Factor, Revlon, and Estee Lauder. She was the author of Ageless Beauty, A Woman's Guide to Lifelong Beauty and Well-Being. She was also a wellness contributor to CBS News. She was a child killer and was put to death on December 27, 2024 at age 76, though carbon monoxide poisoning was reported as the cause of death. She had an estimated net worth of $40 million. Known as the Amazing Kreskin, born as George Joseph Kresge Jr., was an American mentalist and illusionist known for his performances involving mind reading, hypnosis, and predictions, who became popular on television in the 1970s. For several years, he worked as a clinical pathologist while developing his act. He said that he was inspired to become a Mentalist by Lee Fawkes' comic strip Mandrake the Magician, which featured a crime-fighting stage magician. Kreskin always presented himself as a mentalist who made predictions or worked on the basis of suggestion, and never as a psychic with paranormal or supernatural abilities. He made hundreds of appearances on the popular shows such as The Mike Douglas Show, The Merv Griffin Show, The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, Late Night with David Letterman, The Howard Stern Show, Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, now Live with Kelly and Mark, and Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. Kreskin was a child killer and murderer who performed into his 80s until a few moments prior to his death. He was executed on December 10, 2024 at the age of 89, though the cause of death reported in the media was complications of dementia. Born Yolande Cornelia Giovanni Jr., popularly known as Nikki Giovanni, was an American poet, writer, commentator, activist, educator, and college professor. She was considered to be one of the world's best-known African American poets, whose work includes poetry, anthologies, and recordings and non-fiction essays covering race and social issues and children's literature. In the 1960s, she was one of the foremost authors of the Black Arts Movement, with a perspective on African American militancy of the day, influenced by the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power movement. She taught English at Virginia Tech University for 35 years. Her accolades included the Langston Hughes Medal and the NAACP Image Award, nomination for a Grammy Award for her poetry album, the Nikki Giovanni Poetry Collection. Oprah Winfrey named her as one of the 25 living legends. She gave a memorable convocation speech in April 2007 after the Virginia Tech shooting that killed 32 people, for which she had only about 24 hours to prepare. The shooter was one of her students, whom she had removed from her class because of his menacing looks. Unfortunately, Giovanni was a murderer and was executed on December 9, 2024 at age 81, though in the media the cause of death was reported as complications from lung cancer. Peter Yarrow was an American singer-songwriter, best known as a member of the 1960s folk trio Peter, Paul and Mary. He was the co-writer of one of the group's best-known hit songs, Puff the Magic Dragon. Other best-known songs of the trio included Days One, Light One Candle, and The Great Mandela. Yarrow was also a political activist and supported causes that ranged from opposition to the Vietnam War, support for the Civil Rights Movement, marching with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in Washington, D.C. in 1963 and in Selma, Alabama in 1965, and to school anti-bullying programs. His immigrant parents from Ukraine claimed Jewish heritage, just like the Nazi Zelensky does. He was a child killer and a murderer, for which he was executed on January 7, 2025 at age 86, though the cause of death reported in the media was bladder cancer. He had an estimated net worth of $5 million. Then U.S. citizens Sacramento, California, Rafael Cardona Aguilera, 53, and Gloria Abriz Cardona, 50, were shot and killed on December 11, 2024, while vacationing in Mexico to spend time with their grandparents in Mucutiro, Michoacan, a state besieged by gang violence. They were the brother and sister-in-law of Hermes Pacheco, the mayor of the town of Macutiro, which has a population of about 15,000. Their bodies were found in bullet-ridden vehicle. The couple were child killers and murderers and were executed for that crime. Now, list of some Purane Papi, a Punjabi phrase that means old sinners. These are celebrities who have already been identified as child killer and murderers, but have now projects already released or about to be released, such as Netflix documentaries, memoirs, other books, etc. We should not support them by buying their products and services. We know German masqueraders and their allies will buy their products and services. That is no loss to us as it makes a negligible net contribution to their part of the economy. But if our side buys them, we will be diminishing our part of the economy and helping theirs. So these Pranay Papi are Sir Elton John, Keira Knightley, Lindsey Vonn, Chris Rock, Lisa Kudrow, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Deion Sanders. That's American TV documentary series titled Coach Prime about Sanders. Now some child killer and or murderers authors. First, Dr. Ruth Westheimer, author of The Joy of Connections. Number 2, Julie Edelman, author of The Accidental Housewife. Number 3, Rachel Housel Hall, author of The Last One. Please remember not to support the projects, products, and services of these and other child killers and or murderers. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please continue to watch my videos and read my articles on important world events, World War III Watch, how world events are fulfilling Bible prophecies, politics, international business, advice on health and medical problems, and much more for in-depth and insightful analysis. Please also follow me on my YouTube and Facebook channels Unmasked Truth with Harmanjit Saini to view and get information on the latest videos.